Hey guys, how y'all doing? It's your girl Ruth. How you doing? How y'all doing? Yeah, I see the title. Do a little tarot too, but I don't know. I was listening to stumble on this lady, Nubian News, NUBIANEWZ, and she had a topic of Snow White, and it kind of goes into some of the research that I've been doing, and I just happened to say out of my mouth the other day, the Black Kabbalah. Excuse me. So let's see. Oh, the Dark Kabbalah. Yeah, that's what it was. The Dark Kabbalah. So I want to read some of the Snow White. I didn't know it was so Snow White stories. Some of the stories were true and fascinating. On some of the stories about Snow White. Some of like my little stuff. But yeah, I'm gonna read some. Y'all can join me if you want. But I'm always looking for some kind of truth, you know, something that I don't already know to help me keep growing. And who knows, you might stumble on something to help you out. For real. I usually don't drink. So I'm gonna get some coffee. So I got some coffee. I hope y'all doing well, trying to figure these things out and getting y'all survival kits and all that kind of stuff. Learning something new all the time, right? So let's see. I'm gonna start. Mm, let's see. Mm-mm. Let's see which one I want to start first. Oh, that's more of Sleeping Beauty. Okay, let's start on the Chinese one. I didn't know the Chinese had a story of Snow White. It says, do you think Snow White is a European fairy tale? Think again. Snow White's actual name was Lady Ying Goffrey, Guifey. She was a real person and lived in China 1,300 years ago, and she is now returning to her roots. So that was interesting to me, to returning to her roots. Fairy tales have a mysterious sense of hidden meaning, covert messages, and lost faith and legends. A strong depth to them that no other GNRE gear of fiction. Oh, wait a minute, I got something on my phone. Oh, that's on their page. I thought it was something on my phone. Fiction carries symbolism of apples, resurrection, and the power of women flow throughout these stories all over the world. So the apple actually represents the flow of women. Wow, resurrection. Ain't that something? You know what I'm saying? Always learning something when you look for something. You know what I'm saying? Let me put that down right quick, y'all. Apples, the symbolism for resurrection and power of women flow through stories of the world. Okay. One story, more than any other, continues to fascinate many of us. Snow White. There have been over 30 versions of her across the history of film. All of these films have portrayed her as a slim, Caucasian beauty with a kind, passive personality. They included Disney's 1937 Ionic Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Okay. But who was she based on? Where did the story come from? And how has film shaped the way we see her? The original Snow White wasn't some slimmering maiden singing with birds over a well. She was a curvaceous beauty who enchanted the Emperor of China with her charm and charisma, battled her rivals in a cruel and often murderous court, and ultimately had to face her own vanity, leading to her downfall. So, how did her image transform into the blushing, white skinned Germanic maiden? In a faraway land, the first Snow White can be found in a place you wouldn't expect. 1,300 years ago in ancient Chengdu, Chengdu, a province of China Emperor, Loki from the obscurity to marry royalty at the age of 13 and famous for her voluptuous figure and fondness for Lyces, Lychees. She nonetheless had her enemies at court, the rebel armies and the rival count, courtesans all wanted rid of the elderly emperor's favorite. He dotted on her, employing 700 laborers to make her robes, presenting her with gold and jade worth millions. All this attention created jealousy and anger, rumors stirring of corruption at the heart of her influence. Legend has it that the leeches themselves would be her undoing. She was found dead having eaten some, which were rumored to have been poisonous. Others would insist she had been strangled by a rebel leader, but the truth has been lost in time. The Lynchy, Lychee, became the symbol of her downfall and her de- decay, an apple to lychee comparison. Her body was wrapped in a purple cloth, the Chinese color for love, and buried without a coffin. The emperor was distraught and demanded her body to be brought back to him to be buried in honor. When he was given her fragrance bag to remind him of her, he wept bitterly. He never truly recovered from his grief. Excuse me. Hold on, sip of a little coffee. Mm. And so the story traveled down the Silk Road. The beauty sleeping princess corrupted by poisonous fruit. On and on it traveled, to the sea, across Italy and Germany. There it was mixed and met with our influences, the Christian elements of resurrection, the European apple replacing the leech, and a glass coffin replacing the lilac fiber. Perhaps the dark coloring of her hair stuck, or midst of the whiteness of her skin passed away. For although she was reimagined, reimaged in Europe as a Caucasian, she is the only fairy tale character with such striking physical traits. Disney was the first film company to send her image really into popular imagination. Yellow, blue, and red becoming colors synonyms with her characters. Like Lady Yang, pictured directly below, Snow White is only 13 when she meets her prince, but the comparisons stop there. This story, along with the scores that would follow, was distinctly Germanic in feel. Your dwelling European dress, Kit's cottage, and the Wicked Witch replacing the Archetypal, evil stepmother. Okay. Return to the root. The other interpretation, most notable, the live action retellings, are all based on this breakthrough. Every character since Every character since has followed the European version, a slim white woman taking center stage. As with so much film as a genre, I know the word Genre. The biggest fish in the pond chooses the narration. The white Western world has laid claim to the tale and made it distinctively European in feel until now. Snow White appears is taking a trip back to her origins, while she won't be appearing as Lady Yang, a story perhaps too adult for many young Snow White fans. The return is nonetheless interesting in Snow White Adventures in China. Okay. The story will take place in the 19th century, featuring a Chinese cast and following the tale of Snow White and her rivalry with an embedded sorceress. A story perhaps unwittingly eerie, echoing the completion and rivalry faced by the Lady Yang hundreds of years earlier. Okay, that was interesting. Okay, let's see. I seen a little brief one that chose the risen snow. So I don't know if they're talking about because the lady I mentioned to y'all earlier. I did many readings when I seen that it was going to be snow all over the place, and a while back I put on what the reptilian lady was talking about the ice age, how they was getting the women that were original on the earth, how to get them off the earth because they want to come here and use the resources, and they want to take over. You know, that's where they say you get the story of the fallen angels coming down and raping the women. And so the women were fighting them and they was winning. So the reptilians decided to make an ice age and turn the whole world into ice. So I'm surprised to see this coming up again, that risen snow. I don't know what year this was done, by Rob E. Bowley. He says the angry young dwarf named Grouchy has long dreaded this day. His abusive father raised him to hate humans. Yet when a troubled human girl named Snow sought out sanctuary at the home for wayward young dwarfs, Grouchy fell in love with her. Snow now lies in cursed slumber. When a smitten prince arrives to kiss her awake, Grouchy feels as though his world is about to end. He has no idea how right he is. Snow wakes up, but she doesn't wake up right. Now, deranged zombie Snow infects both the prince and the dwarf's elderly leader. That leaves Grouchy and the other young dwarfs to find a cure for her miraculous curse. See, do y'all hear some similarity what's going on now? To do so, he must overcome his own rage, help his fellow dwarfs with their own inner demons, and confront the Bigotry of the prince, soldier in torture. Mm. All the while, the zombie horde grows in numbers and fierce. To make matters worse, dark magic lurks in the surrounding forest, where all is not as it seems. Against all odds, Grouchy must find a way to stop the risen snow. Okay. The Scary Tale is a perfect series for lovers of fairy tales, blah, blah. So I thought that was pretty interesting. I'm trying to get rid of everything I just read. Otherwise, I'll be confused. Okay, let's see. What is this one? This one is a game, and this one was Snow White Scary Tale, Snow White versus the Giant. I didn't look for comic books yet. Okay, let's see. And this is an American White Snow White. Wallop places the ancient Snow White story in the realistic American settling about 1915. The jealous queen is Regina. So y'all seen? Oh, my favorite. Once upon a time, an aging beauty whose stage career has soared. Snow White is her beautiful and talented stepchild, Willa. The cottage of the seven dwarfs has been changed into a traveling medicine show run by a failed Shakespearean actor named Dr. Alfonso and his two oddball companions, a flamboyant Irish Indian called Chief Tonka and a dancing dwarf called Billy Bug. They sell chief toxin elixirs of life, a highly alcoholic concoction that is supposed to reverse aging. So I hope y'all hearing all this stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like they're giving you the bits and pieces what's going on. Okay, then we have Snow White in the Darkness Within Us. Maria Tara collects visions of the tale from around the world and expands how they give us a way to think about what we prefer not to. Walt Disney's Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs was released as the first feature-length animation film in 1960 based on a Grimm Brothers fairy tale about the complications and conflicts in a mother-daughter relationship. Is still a cultural touchstone. So you see how they made stepmothers hit stepdaughters. See, getting in your brain, programming. Let's see. Hold on. The story has virtually eclipsed every version of the many told the world over about beautiful girls and their older rivals, keeping them separated, the young girls and the older girls. Often a cruel biological mother or stepmother, but sometimes an aunt or mother-in-law. In her new book, The Fairies of Them All, Snow White and 21st Tales of Mothers and Daughters, Maria Terra, the John L. Lube Research Profession, and mythology and Germanic languages and literatures, and a senior fellow in Harvard Society of Fellows, collected tales from a variety of nations, including Egypt, Japan, Switzerland, Armenia, and India. She spoke to the Gazette about her lifelong fascination with the saga and how we can look to fairy tales to navigate uncertain times. Okay, she's talking to the Gazette. Why did you decide to take up the Snow White story, Tara? While working on my previous book, Skip, the animated African American folk tales, I came across a South African story called The Unnatural Mother and the Girl with a Star on Her Forehead. It was basically what we call Snow White story, but in it, the beautiful girl falls into a catatonic trance after putting on slippers given to her by her jealous mother. That's when I fell down the rabbit hole of wonder tales and discovered stories from all over the world in which a stunning, attractive young woman arises the jealousy of a woman who is usually her biological mother. The Brothers Grimm, whose 1812 story inspired Walt Disney to create the animated film, had many vernacular tales available to them, but they chose to publish the one in which the rival is a stepmother, in part because they did not want to violate the sanctity of the motherhood. Oh, okay, but you decided to do with a stepmother. Okay. Now, decades later, it is still our cultural story about the main complications and the conflicts in the mother-daughter relationship. Now, if you notice, the original story didn't have nothing to do with that, right? It has uh, eradicated almost every trace of the many tales told all over the world about beautiful girls and their rivals. Do y'all see how they making women mess with each other? The girls, the young girls, the women, how they making us come against each other? Because the original story was not even about this at all. Why does this particular story remain so resonate? All the tales in this collection are cliffhangers. They begin with the counterfactual what if, then leave us asking what's next, and finally challenge us to ask why. These stories are originally told in communal settings, and they got people talking about all the conflicts, pressures, and injustices in real life. How do you create an ending that is not just happier ever after, but also the fairest of them all? What do you do when faced with worst case possible scenarios? What do you need to survive What do you need to survive cruelty, abandonment, and assault? In fairy tales, the answer often comes in the form of wits, intelligence, and resourcefulness on the one hand, and courage on the other. With their melodramatic mysteries, they arouse our curiosity and make us care about the characters. They tell us something about the value of seeking knowledge and feeling comparison under the worst of circumstances, compassionate under the worst of circumstances. And that's a lesson that makes us pay attention today. Okay. Can you explain connection between Snow White's skin and the skin color and her innocence? The red, white, and black color coded in many European versions of this story reminds me of how the Grimms believed that these were the colors of poetry, red as blood and black as the wood on this window frame. It was Disney who changed that to lips red as the rose, hair black as ebony, and skin white as snow. When you look at other versions of the story, you realize that generally the daughter's skin color is not an issue, though curiously, there is a ceremonial version of the tale with a girl with alabasm, ALBINISM, who is an outcast. The fact that the beautiful girl in a global repertory of stories about mothers and daughters is stereotyped as having skin white as snow because of the influence of the Grimm, and the Disney versions limits the global culture resonates of the story. There's another sacred about the Grimm's version of the fairy tale by Disney's reimagining of it, but we tend to think of Grimm and Disney as originals, and unfortunately, they have become the authoritative version. Okay, so I'm not gonna read a lot of all that, but yeah, I'm trying to wind it down. Let's see, I did China. Okay. Okay, I went for a read colorism. I already did China. Okay, so now it's getting to. Oh, that's right. I got something over here. All right. Let's see. Where did I start? Origin of Snow White. Okay. The tale. Snow White is a German fairy tale known across much of Europe and is today one of the most famous fairy tales worldwide. The Brothers Grimm published in 1812 the first edition of their collection, Grimm's Fairy Tale. It was titled in Germany, Schneewittchen, Schneewittchen, Sneewittchen, in modern orthograph, and numbered as Tale 53. The Grimms completed their final version of the story in 1854. It has generally been regarded as purely a tale of fiction. However, recent research suggests that the story may have been inspired from a real story. Now, here's their story. Somebody else's in the world. Scholar Graham Anderson compares the story of Snow White to the Roman legend of Chiron, Chione, Chiron, whatever, recorded in Ovid's Metamorphoses. The name Chiron means snow. In Greek and in the story, she is described as the most beautiful woman in the land, so beautiful that the gods Apollo and Mercury both fell in love with her. Mercury put her to sleep with the touch of the Cadus, Caduceus, and raped her in her sleep. Wow. Then Apollo disguised as an old crone, approached her and raped her again. This led Chione to openly boast that she was more beautiful than the goddess Diana herself, resulting in Diana shooting her through the tongue with an arrow. Wow. Okay, then got Margaretha von Wildeck. In 1994, the German historian Erich Sander published Schneewittchen. I just told y'all about Snow White, Fairy Tale or True Story, claiming he had uncovered an account that may have inspired the story that first appeared in Grimm's fairy tale. According to Sander, the character of Snow White was based on Marguerite von Waldeck, daughter of Philip IV, Count of Waldeck, Wildingen, in 1493 to 1574, and his first wife, Marguerite, in 15 to 1737, daughter of Edzard I, Count of East Frisia, to Bad Wildingen city documents. She was famous for her beauty. Since 1539, she had a very strict stepmother, Katharina von Hetzfeld, and perhaps soon after, Marguerite was raised at nearby Willenberg at the court of Philip III, court of Nassau-Willenberg. In 1545, she traveled through the Seven Hills to live with her mother's brother, Johann Christian, at Bousenberg Castle in present-day Limburg, Netherlands. In 1549, her father sent her on to Brussels, court of Mary of Hungary, governor of the Habsburg Netherlands, and sister, to improve the relationship of her father with the emperor and help the release of Philip I, Landgrave of Hessen, who had been imprisoned in Brussels for his role in Schmickler War, in a war. Okay, well, that's that. The situation at the court was complicated as several high-ranking personalities were striking for Mariette, whatever her name, including Lamar Count Egmont, Charles V's son, Crown Prince Philip, arrived at his aunt's court in 1549. Tradition has it that he pursued her during the few months he was there, though no official relationship could occur as she was Lutheran. 3 surrounding letters from her to her father showed that she healthily declined steadily over the next few years, and she died at the age of 21 in March 1554 in Waldeck Chronicles. She was suggested to have been poisoned. Since, however, her father's second wife died in 1546 and he only remarried again October 1554, her stepmother never was suspect in the alleged poisoning case. Marguerite's father owned several copper mines. A majority of workers were children, and Sanders suggested that the legendary reference to the seven dwarfs is related to children labor in the mine. Check that out. So dwarfs were children in this story. They were, oh my goodness. The resident of the seven dwarfs has been suggested to be the former copper what's that? Mining village in Bergen Fit here. Brgfreiheit, now a district of Bad Widdingen that calls itself Snow White Village. Like the fairy tales dwarf, the child laborers were used to live in groups of about 20 in a single room house. Wow. Okay, you're going to Maria Sophia von Erthel. According to study group in Lourdes, Bavia, Snow White is based on Maria Sophia, born in June 15, 1729, in Bavaria. She was the daughter of 18th century landowner Prince Philip Christopher and his wife, Baroness von Bettendorf. After the death of Baroness, Prince Philip went to marry Claudia Elizabeth, Countess Weissenstein, who was said to dislike her stepchildren. The castle where they lived, now a museum, was home to a mirror that was famous for its extremely smooth and even surface. Something. Okay, well, I start there. Something uncommon in that period. It was referred to as a talking mirror because it always spoke the truth. Now housed in a museum, the mirror constructed in 1720, the mirror manufacturer of the electoral of Mannes in Loft, Lohr, had been in the house during the time that the Maria's stepmother lived there. Her gravestone was found in 2019. Really? The dwarfs in Maria's story are also linked to a mining town, Bieber, located just west of Lohr and set among seven mountains. The smallest tunnels could only be accessed by every short miners, who often wore bright hoods, as the dwarfs have frequently been depicted over the years. The LOHR study group mountains that the glass coffin may be linked to the region's famous glass works, while the poison apple may be associated with the deadly nightshade poison that glows in abundance in LOHR. Okay, yeah, I think this. What is this? I have the title was Sneak when a Low German form, but the first version gave the High German translation. The tale has become known in Germany. Okay, I read that. It's called Snow. Why is it called Snow White? That's certainly the picture Disney went with when designing the character based on her appearance. Her parents named her Snow White because it was snowing when her mother gave birth. Okay. What does Snow White symbolize? White as snow, lips as red as blood, and hair as black as ebony. The three colors were all symbols that manifested Snow White as a coming of age story. White represents innocence at birth, as well as Snow White's naivety at the beginning of the story. I say Snow White machine, Muslims' largest. Okay, it's another story. After this, this is Snow White machine, the Muslims' largest matchmaking and society network site. If you thought it was just a trick of the mind, prepare yourself for the truth. Y'all remember Deja Vu movie? Okay. Deja vu when something is changed in the matrix. The company MapQuest got their maps from GDT, then NAVTEQ, now Teleatlas, in 1995. I remember how the satellite images were only known to us inside this office. You would it says you would kind of try to describe this to people outside, how you would just pull a satellite image of an address and a picture would appear. They didn't believe it. This was in 1995. I was so amazed back then uh, that I made a black and white printout of an image of my own house. It wasn't, I think, 2002 that the satellite image became available to the average person on the street. Now, Google Maps lets you see the street in 360 degrees and in full color with zoom. My point is, this sort of spy technology is available to the average person for decades. An entire live feed has been established with Zoom, rewind, and even fast forwarded algorithm. There was an allegory for this technology, which is called the Snow White Machine, in which the 2006 film Deja Vu, starring Denzel Washington. Y'all remember that? Okay. Now pay attention. I'm going to tell you what's really going on, and it's been for years. The matrix the matrix we are in now, called society, is a virtually foolproof program that has been crafted based on past events. You're confused, but let me explain. Where's it go? The economy, social engineers of the benevolence do not watch the present. Instead, they watch a live, real-time computer simulation of the future. This future is based upon various live video and data feeds of the entire planet being fed into the gamma computer at the South Pole and then into a program called the Snow White Machine. Once this huge amount of present data is fed into the Snow White Machine, an algorithm is then used to to a stunning degree of accuracy of what future events will be. Society is then projected in real life to technicians who can, particularly speaking, see to the future. In fact, they are in the future. Ain't that something? That's how they try to beat us ahead of time, right? Know what we're doing. Commercials and everything else, because they had already, remember Deja Vu? I forgot in the days they can go back, so he saved her before she died. Y'all remember that movie? If y'all didn't, y'all just go watch that. Seemingly oddball, high-budgeted goofball films like Deja Vu seemed like lunacy at first, but as you know, this IS allegory 100%. In the film, the government uses a supercomputer which spies on society in every corner. As a result, it can predict the future as well as see into the past. 100% of you walk out of your theater scratching your head. Okay. You all wonder how Denzel's character could be into the past using a computer program. Denzel used the Snow White machine to go into the past to change the course of the murder of a murder. However, what you don't realize was that the present in the film was not the real present, and in fact predicted and projected future. So in reality, the entire film took place from the viewpoint of a technician in Antarctica, viewing the Snow White machine project, the future in real time. When there is a problem in the projected future, the government finds Denzel's character and effectively sends him to the present. Okay. I'll stop there. Sends him to the present. All past from the technician's point of view to change the course of things. Wow. If you don't get it, reread until you do. But here's all you need to know. A real computer exists that is predicting the future in real time. If this computer projects an undesirable event, agents can be used in the present to change things. It's that simple and it's real, real. This is why a ludicrous, okay, this the movie is uh, such as this is made. It makes no sense. It's certain to be a commercial flop. I'm gonna stop it. Yet it is given the green light by the top and commissioned to use an A-list actor, paid millions, all in the name of metaphysics. It looked like a movie. Now, if you think it's crazy, you merely have to look at this film many times. Tom Cruise Minority Report is the same thing. In 2051, John Anderton is a member of an experimental Washington, D.C. police force known as Pre-Crime, which uses future visions generated by three preclogs mutant humans with precognition abilities to stop murders. This, too, at first glance, is a huge budget film starring a top A-list actor and directed by the most influential American film director of all time, the Honorable Steven Spielberg. It couldn't get more obvious. Let the unintelligent, wait a minute. Yeah. The idea is to see into the future by way of computers and impute devices to control the present. Still think it's crazy? Why don't you listen to the Bolivians explain it to you in a plain English? Social engineering. Okay. Oh, sorry, y'all. I'm looking out any kind of way today. Oh, shit. Sorry, y'all. Okay, you're gonna have to hold up. The idea, okay. The idea is to see into the future by way of computers and put the devices to control presence. Okay. Social engineering, the analysis, and the automation of a society requires the correction of great amounts of constantly changing economic information data. So a high-speed computer processing system was necessary, which could race ahead of the society and predict when society would arrive for capulation, elite documents, SW. Time machine. You better believe it. 100% real, but it is used this very moment. Time measures events. Okay, let's see. Time measures events, but if you can track all events data, then you can manipulate time itself, future events. Wow. Check that out. Okay, then got white is a symbol of freedom, purity, innocence, simplicity. Uh, enter a new chapter. So I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah. Thought that was pretty cool. Let's see what we can find, what might be going on. We see a lot of stuff going on, don't we? Do a little something to get off of here. Just thought that was interesting, you know. I would have read, let me see, I want to read this too. Because Snow White story reminds me of Esther in the Bible too. Okay. Let's see. And that's why I say you have to really understand how things are set up. And some people were trying to tell us this, but all the way they have it set up. Well, we live and we learn, right? Let's see. Okay. Yeah, they looking. They already knew what I was gonna do today. That's why they be messing with you. You wonder why they mess with your channel and all that kind of stuff. If they feel you're a threat and you're gonna warn the people a little bit too much, they gonna already have it. Okay, don't get this person views. That's up their channel. Don't let people look. You know, that's how they do it, y'all. That's one way. This one way. Now we know. Ain't no sense in asking no more, right? Here is Esther. Let me see if I can find it in the contents. If this got contents. Do you have? Okay. Esther. The name is Esther, ain't it, y'all? Yeah. 470. Way too far. Yeah. I'm gonna read a little bit of her right quick. It's short, y'all. It ain't long. Okay. The book of Esther. And it came to pass in the days of reign, Ahasuerus. This was the reign over 127 province from India to Ethiopia. In those days when that king sat on the throne in his kingdom, which was in Shushan, the citadel, that the third year of his reign he made a feast for all his officials and servants, the powers of Persia and Media and nobles and the prince of province being before him. When he showed the riches of his glorious kingdom and the splendor of his excellent majesty for many days, 180 days in all. And when these days were complete, the king made a feast lasting 7 days for all the people who were present in Shan and citadel, from great to small, in the court of the garden of the king's palace. There were white and blue linen curtains fastened with cords of fine linen and purple on silver rods and marble pillars, and the couches were of gold and silver on a mosaic pavement of the alabaster, turquoise, and white and black marble, and they served drinks in golden vessels, each vessel being different from the other, with royal wine in abundance, according to the generosity of the king. In accordance with the law, the drinking was not compulsory, for so the king had ordered all the officers of his household that they should do according to each man's pleasure. Queen Vesta also made a feast for the women in the royal palace, which belonged to the king. On the seventh day, when the heart of the king was merry with wine, he commanded Meham, some other people, seven eunuchs who served in the presence of the king, to bring Queen Vesta before the king, wearing her royal crown, in order to show her beauty to the people and officials, for she was beautiful to behold. But Queen Vesta refused to come at the king's command, brought by his, servants before the king. The king was furious. Okay, of course he should have been, right? You embarrassed the man, and his anger burned within him. Then the king said to the wise men who understood the times, for this was the king's manner towards all who knew law and justice, um, these closest to him being the other people close to him, and seven princes of Persia and Media, who had access to the king's presence and who reigned highest in the kingdom. What shall we do to Queen Vesta according to the law? Because she did not obey the commandment of the king. Brought to her, and his servant answered before the king and the princes, Queen Vesta has not only wronged the king, but also all the princesses and all the people, all the uh, uh, in king's presence. For the queen's behavior will become known to all women, so that they will despise their husbands in their eyes when they report. So they want to make an example of her, right? The king commanded Queen Vesta to be brought in before him, but she did not come. This very day, the mobile ladies of Persia and Media will say to all the king's officials that they have heard of the behavior of the queen. Thus, there will be excessive contempt and war. If it pleases the king, let a royal decree go out from him, and let it be recorded in the laws of the Persians and the Medians, so that it will not be altered. That Vesta shall come no more before the king. Let the king give her royal position to another who is better than she. Excuse me. When the king's decree, which he will make, is proclaimed throughout all his empire, for it is great. All wives will honor their husbands, both great and small. And the reply pleased the king, and the prince and the king did according to the word of the whoever said that. Then he sent letters to all the king's province, to each province in its own script, and to every people in their own language, that each man should be master in his own house and speak in the language of his own people. After chapter 2, after these things, when the wrath of the king subsided, he remembered Vesta, what she had done, and what had been decreed against her. Then the king's servants who attended him said, let beautiful young virgins be sought before the king, and let the king appoint officers in all the province of his kingdom, that they may gather all the beautiful young virgins to sit out into the woman's quarters under the custody of Hagar, the king's servant, customary of the women, and let beauty preparations be given them. Then let the young woman who pleases the king be queen instead of Vesta. This thing pleased the king, and he did so. In Shisham and Sidal there was a certain Jew whose name was um, Mordecai, the son of Jor, the son of Shemel, the son of a Benjamite, Cush. He had carried away his from Jerusalem with the captives who had been captured with the king of Judea, whom Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, had carried away. So Mordecai had brought up uh, Hadassah, that is Esther, his uncle's daughter, for she had neither father nor mother. The young woman was lovely and beautiful. When her father and mother died, Mordecai took her as his own daughter. So it was when the king's command and decree were heard, and when many young women were gathered in Shushan and Sidar under the custody of Hagar, that Esther also was taken to the king's palace, and took care of Hagar the custody of the women. Now the young women pleased him, and she obtained his favor. So he readily gave beauty preparations to her, besides her allowance. Then 7 choice maidens were provided for her from the king's palace, and he moved her and her maidservants to the best place in the house of the woman. Esther had not revealed her people or family, for Mordecai had charged her not to reveal it. And every day Mordecai paced in front of the court of the women's quarters to learn of Esther's welfare and what was happening to her. Each young woman's turn came to go into the king after she had completed 12 months preparation according to the regulations of the women, for thus were the days of their preparation. Uh, ain't that something? He can go break a man. If you don't like him, he send them on their way. Well, that's cold. 6 months with oil of myrrh, and 6 months with perfumes and preparation for beautiful women. Thus prepared, each young woman went to the king, and she was given whatever she desired to take with her from women's quarters to the king's palace. In the evening, she went, and in the morning she returned to the second house of the women to the custody of whoever that was, and the servants who kept the concubines. She would not go in to the king again unless the king delighted in her and called for her by name. Now, when the turn came for Esther, the daughter of Malachi's niece, who had taken her as his daughter to go unto the king, she requested nothing but what Hagar, the king's servant, the custodian of the women, advised. And Esther obtained favor in the sight of all who saw her. So Esther was taken to the king unto his royal palace in the 10th month, which is the month of Tebet, in the 7th year of his reign. The king loved Esther more than all the other women, and she obtained grace and favor in his sight more than all the virgins. So he set the royal crown upon her head, and made her queen instead of Vesta. So now she got an enemy, right? Then the king made a great feast, the feast of Esther, for all his officials and servants, and he proclaimed a holiday in the province and gave gifts according to the generosity of the king. When virgins were gathered together a second time, Malachi sat within the king's gate. Now Esther had not revealed her family and her people, just as Malachi had charged her. For Esther obeyed the commandment of Malachi as when she was brought up by him. In those days, while Malachi sat upon the king's gate, 2 of the king's servants became furious and sought to lay hands on the king. So the matter became known to Malachi, who told Queen Esther, and Esther informed the king in Malachi's name. And when an inquiry was made into the matter, it was confirmed, and both were hanged on the gallows. And it was written in the book of the Chronicles in the presence of the king. And after these things, King promoted Haman, the son of Agag, and advanced him and set his seat above all the prince who were with him. So that's Malachi. Okay. Malachi, whatever his name. And all the king's servants who were within the king's gate bowed and paid homage to Haman. For so the king had, see, they be changing, switching up names. For so the king had commanded concerning him. But Malachi would not bow or pay. Oh, okay, my fault. I'm sorry. So Haman. So Malachi would not bow or pay homage. Then the king's servants who were within the king's gate said to Malachi, why do you transgress the king's command? My fault, y'all. Jumped the gun. That wasn't Malachi. But it happened when they spoke to him daily, and he would not listen to them, that they told it to Haman to see whether Malachi's words would stand. For Malachi had told them that he was a Jew. When Haman saw that Malachi did not bow or pay him homage, Haman was filled with wrath, but he disdained to lay hands on Malachi alone, for they had told him of the people of Malachi. Instead, Haman sought to destroy all the Jews, which is the month of Nisan. Check that out. In the 12th year of the king, they cast pure, that is the lot, before Haman to determine the day, the month, until it fell upon the 12th month, which is the month of Adar. Then Haman said to king, "The certain people scattered and dispersed among the people in all the provinces of your kingdom. Their laws are different from all other peoples, and they do not keep the king's law. Therefore, it is not fitting for the king to let them remain. If it pleases the king, let a decree be written that they be destroyed, and I will pay 10,000 talents of silver into the hands of those who do the work, to bring it into the king's treasures." So the king took his signet ring from his hand and gave it to Haman, okay, the enemy of the Jews. And the king said to Haman, "The money and the people are given to you, to do with them as seems good to you." Then the king's scribes were called on the 13th day of the 12th month, and a decree was written according to all that Haman commanded. To the king's straps, to the governors who were each province, to the officials of all people, to every province according to its script, and to every people in their language. In the name of the king, it was written and sealed with the king's signet. And the letters were sent by couriers into all the king's province to destroy, to kill, and to annihilate all the Jews, both young and old, little children and women, in one day on the 13th day of the 12th month, which is the month of Adar, and to plunder their possessions. A copy of the document was to be issued as law in every province, being published for all people, that they should be ready for that day. The carriers went out, hastened by the king's commandment, and the decree was proclaimed Shushan, the citadel. So the king and the Haman sat down to drink, but the city of Shushan was perplexed. When Mordecai learned all that had happened, he tore his clothes and put on sackcloth and ashes, and went out into the midst of the city. He cried out with a loud and bitter cry. He went as far as the front of the king's gate, for no one might enter the king's gate clothed with sackcloth. And in every province where the king's commanded and decree arrived, there was great mourning among the Jews, with fasting, weeping, wailing, and many lay in sackcloth and ashes. So Esther's maids came and told her, and the queen was deeply distressed. Then she sent garments to clothe Malachi, and took his sackcloth away from him, but he would not accept them. Then Esther called Hetha, whatever name, Hezekiah, one of the king's servants whom he had appointed to her, and she gave him a command concerning Mordecai to learn what and why this happened. So Hetha went out to Malachi in the city square that was in front of the king's gate. And Malachi told him all that had happened to him, and the sum of money that Haman had promised to pay into the king's treasures to destroy the Jews. He also gave him a copy of the written decree of their destruction, which was given to Shisham, that he might show it to Esther and explain to her, and that he might command her to go unto the king to make supplications to him and plead before him for her people. So he returned and told Esther the words of Malachi. Then Esther spoke to him and gave him a commandment for Malachi. And all the king's servants and the people of the king's province know that any man and woman who goes into the inner court to the king, who has not been called, he has but one law: put all to death, except the one to whom the king holds out the golden scepter, that he may live. Yet I myself have not been called to go unto the kings these 30 days. So they told Malachi Esther's words. And Malachi told them to answer Esther: do not think in your heart that you will escape in the king's palace any more than all the other Jews. For if you remain completely silent at that time, relief and deliverance will rise for the Jews for another palace, but you and your father's house will perish. Yet who knows whether you have come to the kingdom for such a time as this? Boom. People don't know. You got to know what you came for. Gotta know what you came here for. Can't be selfish. You're here to save. It's so many things going on. Then Esther told them to reply to Malachi: go gather all the Jews who are present in Shushan and fast for me, whether neither eat nor drink for 3 days, night or day. My maid and I will fast likewise, and so I will go to the king, which is against the law. And if I perish, I perish. So Malachi went his way and did according to all that Esther commanded him. Now it happened on the third day that Esther put on her royal robes and stood in the inner court of the king's palace, across from the king's house, while the king sat on his royal throne in the royal house. So they didn't even sleep together. They had their own room. People got a problem with that today. King slept on one side, the princess, whatever, slept on the other side. They didn't even sleep together. While the king sat on his royal throne in the royal house, facing the entrance of the house. So it was when the king saw Queen Esther standing in the court that she found favor in his sight. When the king held out to Esther this golden scepter that was in his hand, then Esther went near and touched the top of the scepter. And the king said to her, what do you wish, Queen Esther? What is your request? It shall be given to you up to half the kingdom. So Esther answered, if it please the king, let the king and Haman come today to the banquet that I have prepared for him. And the king said, bring Haman quickly, that he may do as Esther said. So the king Haman went to the banquet that Esther had prepared. At the banquet of wine, the king said to Esther, what is your petition? It shall be granted you. What is your request? Up to half the kingdom, it shall be done. Then Esther answered and said, my petition and request is this: if I have found favor in the sight of the king, and if it pleases the king to grant my petition and fulfill my request, then let the king and Haman come to the banquet, which I will prepare for them, and tomorrow will do as said. So Haman went out that day joyful and with a glad heart. But when Haman saw Malachi in the king's gate, and that he did not stand or tremble before him, he was fully with indignation because of Malachi. Nevertheless, Haman restrained himself and went home, and he sent and called his friend and his wife. Then Haman told them of his great riches, the multitude of his children, everything in which the king had promoted him, and how he had advanced himself above the officials and the servants of the king. Moreover, Haman said, besides Queen Esther, invent no one but me to come in with the king to the banquet that she prepared, and tomorrow I am again invited with her, along with the king. Yet all his avails me nothing so long as I see Malachi the Jew sitting at the king's gate. Then his wife, whatever her name, all his friends said to him, let a gallows be made 50 cubits high, and in the morning suggest to the king that Malachi be hanged on it. Then go merrily with the king to the banquet. And the thing pleased Haman, see gallows made. That night the king could not sleep, so one was commanded to bring the book of the records of the Chronicles, and they were read before the king. And it was found written that Malachi had told of two of the king's doorkeepers who had sought to lay hands on the king. Then the king said, "What honor or dignity has been bestowed upon Malachi for this time, for this?" And the king's servants who attended him said, "Nothing has been done for him." So the king said, "Who is in the court?" Now Haman had just entered the outer court of the king's palace to suggest that the king hang Malachi on a gallows that he had prepared for him. The king's servant said to him, "Haman is there, standing in the court." And the king said, "Let him come." So Haman came in, and the king answered, "What shall be done for the man whom the king delights to honor?" Now Haman thought in his heart, "Whom would the king delight to honor more than me?" And Haman answered the king, "For the man whom the king delights to honor, let a royal robe be brought for which the king was worn, and horse on which the king has ridden, which has a royal crest placed on his head. Then let his robe and horse be delivered to the hand of one of the king's most noble prince, that he may array the man whom the king delights to honor. Then parade him on horseback around the city square and proclaim before him. Then shall it be done to the man whom the king delights to honor." And the king said to Haman, "Hurry, take the robe and the horse, as you have suggested, and do so for Malachi, the Jew who sits within the king's gate. Leave nothing undone of all that you have spoken." So Haman took the robe and horse, arrayed Malachi, and laid him on a horseback through the city square, and proclaimed before him, "Thus shall it be done to the man whom the king delights to honor." Afterward, Malachi went back to the king's gate, but Haman hurried to his house, mourning and with his head covered. Then Haman told his wife and all his friends everything that happened to him. His wise men and his wife said to him, "If Malachi before you have begun to fall is a Jew descent, you will not prevail against him, but will surely fall before him." While they were still talking with him, the king's servant came and hastened to bring Haman to the banquet which Esther had prepared. So the king and Haman went to dine with Queen Esther. And on the second day at the banquet of wine, the king again said to Esther, "What is your petition, Queen Esther? It shall be granted. And what is your request to have the kingdom that should be done?" And Queen Esther answered and said, "If I have found favor, O king, if it pleases the king, let life be given me at my petition, my people at my request. For we have been sold, my people and I, to be destroyed, to be killed, and to be annihilated. Had we been sold as male and female slaves, I would have held my tongue, although the enemy could never compensate the king's losses." So king answered and said, "Queen Esther, who is he? For where is he? Who would dare presume in his heart to such a?" And Esther said, "The adversary, the enemy, is the wicked Haman." So Haman was terrified for the king and queen. Then the king arose in his walk from the banquet of the wine and went into the palace garden. But Haman stood before Queen Esther, pleading for his life, for he saw that evil was determined against him by the king. When the king returned from the palace garden to the place of the banquet of wine, Haman had fallen across the couch where Esther was. Then the king said, sorry about that. Then the king, when the king returned, had fallen across the couch where Esther was, then the king said, "Will he also assault the queen while I am in the house?" As the word left the king's mouth, they covered Haman's face. Now have on one of servants the gallows 50 cubits high, which Haman made for Malachi, who spoke good on the king's behalf, standing at the house of Haman. Then the king said, "Hang him on it." So they hang Haman on the gallows that he had prepared for Malachi. The king's walk subdued. Okay. On that day, King gave Queen Esther the house of Haman, the enemy of the Jews, and Malachi came before the king, for Esther had told how he was related to her. So the king took off his ring, which he had given to Haman, and gave it to Malachi, and Esther appointed Malachi over the house of Haman. Now Esther spoke again to the king, fell down at his feet, and empowered him with tears to counteract the evil of Haman and the sham which he had devised against the Jews. Okay, so I guess y'all get that, what that mean. Okay, let's see. Let's just see maybe something going on. See what might be going on. It's crazy where certain things that you're supposed to be doing. Okay. Now this is soft, gentle, motherly, and this could be represented as Esther. Okay, this could be represented as you see how she has protection all around her. All kind of sea salt, pebbles, even to make smoke in her hand, incense, adorned. Okay. Yeah, you can almost say that's Esther, but they changed to blue eyes, fair and brown hair. Has a crown on her head. Okay. Then we got two of swords, peace of harmony, needing to take the blindfold off, keep reassessing the situation. First Deacon Libra, Mercury. So we got the moon in the picture. So it's like she took the blindfolds off for the king of herself first. So I think that's what we need to do. Okay. Realize who you are. Of course, you're queen, empress, whatever it may be. Your heart is pure. So I see people in China and Japan, they practice with something over their eyes so they can use their other, that might be a message too right there. Using your other senses instead of your eyes, you know what I'm saying? It's like it goes back to the darkness. I made the video on their darkness did happen before. I should read that about the king and Moses. But can you sharpen the other senses? I remember when I was taking my daughter to work, it was a Asian lady. That's how she would practice every day down the sidewalk. She would cover her eyes in broad daylight by a school, but she was on the sidewalk. And she used her other senses. She practiced that every day. We wouldn't even think about doing nothing like that, So that probably would be something to do even in your own house. You know what I'm saying? Because let me see. Oh, yeah. The other part I got, what was that? Something else I found. Global internet will likely blackout for months after a bad solar storm. Solar storm, when massive charged particles and plasma are erected from the sun and blast into space, are fascinating to observe. But if the next one hits anytime soon, you will not be able to share it with your friends or social media. At the Data Communication Conference, SIGCOMM 2021, researchers of the university have warned that the next solar storm, whenever it hits, will likely cause an internet apocalypse, creating a worldwide internet blackout that could last for months. In a present title, Solar Superstorm, Planning for an Internet Apocalypse, the fast-moving cloud of the magnetized particles ejected from the sun during a solar storm could cause severe damage to Earth's existing internet infrastructure. The Earth is constantly showered by practical ejects from the sun, Yet most electronics on the planet work fine. That's because Earth's atmosphere acts as a shield, blocking much of the harmful radiation and charged particles and reflecting them away into space. For decades, scientists have known magnetized particles can disrupt the functioning of the electronic devices and wreak havoc on electrical grids. For the most part, private, Earth's protective shield is influenced to protect humans' fragile electronic infrastructure. But once in a while, the sun sprays out mass in sufficiently large quantities to blanket the overwhelm its atmospheric defense. Yet then, when the most recent solar storm occurred in 2014, the planet's infrastructure came out on the other side pretty unscathed. Hence, the new research present at what I said earlier, 2021 is significant. The study says the most powerful grid infrastructure may not be significantly affected, nor is the local internet infrastructure, which uses fiber optics and is properly grounded. On the other hand, massive cables laid undersea to provide direct connectivity between continents will risk being severely hit. The solar storm, strong enough to disrupt even a few of these massive cables, could result in global blackout lasting for months. Furthermore, researchers have pointed out that there has been very little data about solar superstorms. Large events of solar storms have only been recorded 3 times in history, and the most recent solar storm in 2014 was a minor occurrence. During the most intense solar storm to have ever been recorded in history, which occurred in 1859 and is now as Carrington event, the Earth's magnet, magnet, magnet was blast with so much solar mass that it induced the largest geometrical storm ever recorded. Compasses around the world were recorded going haywire while north lights was visible in Colombia near the equator. So some places was not affected by it. Now that's one I wanted to read. Let's see. Okay, okay, it says Goal 13, take urgent action to combat climate change and its impact. 2019 was the second warmest year on record, end of the warmest, okay? Climate change is affecting every country on every continent. It's disrupting national economics and affecting lives. Weather patterns are changing, sea levels are rising, and weather events are becoming more extreme. Although greenhouse gas emissions are projected to drop about 6% in 2020 due to travel bans and economic slowdowns resulting from the COVID-19 pandemic. This improvement is only temporary. Climate change is not on pause. Once the global economy begins to recover from the pandemic, emissions are expected to return to higher levels. Saving lives and livelihoods require urgent action to address both the pandemic and the climate emergency. Then they have a Paris Agreement adopted in 2015 aims to strengthen the global response to the threat of climate change by keeping a global temperature rise that's century well below 2 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels. The agreement also aims to strengthen the ability of countries to deal with impacts of climate change through appropriate financial flows, a new technology framework, and an enhanced capacity building framework. COVID-19 response. As countries move forward, rebuilding their economies after COVID-19 recovery plans and shape 21st century economy in ways that are clean, green, healthy, safe, and more resilient, whatever. The current crisis is an opportunity for profound systematic shift to a more sustainable economy that works for both people and the planet. So to me, they saying, I always see something else. We finna do whatever we can. We like cleaning the earth. I told y'all that the president cleaner. Okay, y'all thought I was lying. Last president, unless they make some more, was Obama. Just like y'all the Bible says. Okay. Still didn't wake up. Still did. They had to put Trump in the office to let them know everything was fake. Y'all didn't believe him. Y'all talked about it. Put him down. He's telling y'all what's going on. Still didn't get it. But y'all did come together and talked about him, but still got some that did. And now you got the cleaner there and his girlfriend. No disrespect. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that. But you know what I'm saying. So transformation, death, everything I read about a Scorpio, he's a Scorpio, she's a Libra. You know what I'm saying? She there for justice, she there to judge, she like I was saying my Mayat. She doing Mayat and Hero's role. She doing both of them. And he doing all 7 of Scorpios. So the cleaners here. So after they do all of this stuff, they finna do all these storms, because I already read to y'all about how they got the machines that they did on Deja Vu that they can see what you do a day ahead, and they could try to beat you to doing it instead of using it productively to stop people from, from stuff from happening. But they using it for their benefits as usual. Okay, because I know they ain't gonna have nobody listening to this. I already know, I already expected. They already seen what I was gonna do today. So y'all, let's listen in, since y'all see everything and know who we are by cheating. Okay, y'all turn coming too. Because whoever made y'all made me too. Okay, I'm assuming, unless I'm from another galaxy, that's a whole nother thing. But something is behind the darkness. So if it's meant to me to do what I do, I'm gonna do what I do. Meant to do what you do, and do what you do. Okay. So I'm talking to y'all. Call me crazy, call me whatever y'all want to call me. I'm saying what I had to say. So whoever listen, they listen. They spread it to the next. Whatever they take from this. Okay. So that was that. But anyway, so yeah, that was one until I think of I've had some other ones I want to read too. So it'll be good practice. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna do that myself as well. I had started doing that, putting some over my eyes so I could feel in the room, and use my other senses. That'll be good practice, even if it did get dark or it didn't get dark. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. And this could be like a helper, a grandma, or a mom, or something, a great aunt, or whoever, great grandma. Or one of the, and it looked like she's like in the clouds, like one of the helpers, or one of the gods or goddesses, that's in the sky. Be sweet and gentle, helping you out down here, Okay, there you go. As above, so below. It's up to you to figure out how to do this stuff. How you gonna help? Because it's all about helping. We can go in there and hide, but I don't plan on. When I say I want to go off, I don't mean I don't want to help. I know I got this here. Okay, I know I have this, and generational curses as well. Okay, and my past lives. I already know that. And the children, you know what I'm saying? And them we offering each other, offering them, to learn and to see what's going on. We got to teach them how to do these things for the next generations to come. Now, this could be one of y'all too, as well as myself. But we have to teach them, you know. That's why they got the kids on here, the dog, the grandpa. That's a cycle. Grandpa through dad, mom, the kids, the dogs, or whatever, dad, mom together, you know what I'm saying? It could be his daughter, I don't know, you know, and taking care of kids, taking care of the elderly, you know, but as much as they got to help themselves as well. So, you know, if you get elderly, start getting older and don't realize there's wisdom and knowledge, and you should feel good about that and to start changing and taking care of your diet, and you start feeling sorry for yourself and try to make your kids take care of you, that's not good. Okay. You know, we all understand we have to grow and learn, but make your kids do it 100%. That's not fair. You know what I'm saying? But family unit, you know, and that could be that could be all of us because we all can. How we gonna help each other? Not only your immediate, but that's why I decided, you know, get on here to offer my help, you know, and to get information back. Reciprocity, you know, as above, so below, as around, whatever, infinity, helping each other, on and on and on. Because we probably be back. Now, this is what, the pentagram? Is this the pentagram right here? Interesting. Pentagram again. It goes sickly, you know. Everything go down. What do we have in place? Because things have already showed us that stuff can happen. You know, gotta really think. What about our soldiers who go out there and be tricked into fighting and come back and be like this on the street, being cheated by the government? They went and fight and they come back and they get cheated. What about them? You know what I'm saying? Not only our minds, they done seen all kinds of stuff. They've been lied to, killing kids, killing all elderly, killing people who are innocent. And they got to come back and be disrespected. Join another two. So that's the medical. Lion. You know, helping hand. Helping each other. Yeah, this is have to be romantic. It's all helping each other. You know, if you got the corn artists, of course. But do what you can. Be surprised who could tell you how to survive. You know? People in jail, who write them? People in the mental ward, who talk to them? You know? Just think about if you're in that situation. You don't get a letter, you don't get a call, nothing. How they feel. I'm proud of Kim Kardashian. I'm proud of her for that. You know, she thought about it. That's something I wanted to do a long time ago. Matter of fact, one of the mob wives, that show that used to come on, not mob wives, the mob children of the mob. One of them, I forgot her name. She started doing that, have them talking to her over the internet, and I wanted to do the same thing, but I never got a chance to. When people would call from jail, I would try to give advice, stuff like that. But I'm not doing what I really want to do to help, you know, because that's a lonely thing. You know what I'm saying? All these are lonely things. Even the elders in the nursing homes and homes scared to come outside, and so much to do. It's just so much. I don't get why everybody's sitting there jealous and worried about what other people are doing. I don't get it. A lot of broken hearts. That you can just, help a little bit. a smile, you need something today. I don't know. They hide not scared. And who knows if, like I say, life flips all the time. It could be you later on. You know what I'm saying? What did you do to get reciprocity back? It's a circle. It's real sad. Yeah. We juggle for what? Material stuff. Messing over mate that's good to you. Trying to figure out how you're gonna sneak and go somewhere else and mess the maybe you can take your time out to help somebody. If you take the time out to function your mind on doing something productive, you won't be so horny. The evil spirits and the forces won't make you horny and focus on your bottom half. When you can focus and look at, wait a minute, there's something needed in this world. Let me figure out how to see what I need to do to help. Not only that could be me, you know, but that's how the world goes. There's many broken hearts. But people stay in this Chiron state and don't hear yourself till you end up, you know. And yeah, I know the government high spy again. I see what y'all do. I live in the movies. I'm top down now because y'all have people coming to my channel. I understand that. Y'all see what I do. And y'all know I'm going to tell them the truth. But like I say, every dog got their day. Every dog got their day. Remember that. You don't know what your life going to be like when they get ready to turn on you, because they will. They're going to turn on you. Or y'all going to turn on each other. Okay. Yeah, I already know that. They're doing it now. Y'all know. When you sit under this tree, lonely, confused, lost everything. Okay. Tables turn. If somebody now get out of trouble, war. Stop doing that to people. But I know it ain't gonna stop because of never in stir because y'all greedy like that. Like y'all abundance. I hear you. Everything flip. Doing the same thing over. Looking over what else you can do. You can start on the pyramids from way back then. Now knock all y'all. All y'all that's here, the ones that don't care, because they got a whole lot of them that do. Okay. That's how y'all get to go and do what y'all do and all these portals and y'all. There it is. Going through the moon and another way of going, another way of using stuff, other portals. All on y'all though. All on y'all. Yeah. Let's see what else I'm going to say. Let me see. What else I wanted to say too. Oh, yeah, it says the poison apple is also a familiar symbol that can be biblically referred to as Adam and Eve. When Adam gave his into the temptation and followed man, Snow White was hesitant at first to accept the apple, but the disguised queen bit the non-poisonous side, which convinced Snow White to eat a bite from the red-colored poisonous side. Afterwards, she fell upon the spell. Notice that the color red appears again as snow, lips red as blood, and hair as black as ebony. The three colors were all symbols. Okay, you got Freemasons. Look, the colors of like, the same colors, right? I was doing that the other day too. Red, black, white. And you got the Freemasons, black and white, the checkerboard thing, the red robes. The priest wears a red and a white robe, a black and white, white. They wear white, black, and white. Red, black, white. That's the colors. Same colors they use. Same colors that's in the story, Snow White and other stories. Symbol of passion, red, maturity, which she went through when she moved in with the seven dwarfs. Black represents death, which Snow White experienced when she was poisoned and fallen into a coma. In the Disney movie, it was called The Sleeping Death. Exact reason why the dwarfs allowed Snow White to stay with them was not fully disclosed to the viewers in the original story. The seven dwarfs said, "If you will keep house for us and cook, make beds, wash, sew, and knit, and keep everything clean and orderly, then you can stay with us and you shall have everything that you want." Okay, so that's what the government offering us now to clean us here. They're gonna either you gonna do this for them, you're gonna be this way in order to stay, or you're not. They're gonna wipe you out. See, that's the role that we got. This portrayed the gender roles of a power struggle. Walt Disney also left out the detail that the seven dwarfs were adult dwarfs. I'm sure it was not meant for the audience to stop and wonder why a young girl would move in with seven adult men and perform domestic duties in exchange for a promise to have everything that you want. In my opinion, such an ordeal does not sound very appropriate for children to learn about. A Prince Charming character is usually used in a happy Disney version of fairy tales, which is probably why in the movie the cure for Snow White's coma was through a kiss from the prince. However, Grimm's story, Snow White was meant to be asleep for eternity, but she ended up waking up not from a prince's kiss. The dwarfs that were carrying her coffin had stumbled, causing Snow White to cough up the piece of poison apple that had swallowed. When the dwarfs learned that the friendly farmer's wife who offered Snow White the apple was actually an evil queen, they chased her through the forest. When they reached the edge of the cliff, lightning struck and caused the queen to fall to her death. That was the animated version. The original version of how the queen died was a bit more gruesome. When the queen's murderous attempts were discovered, a pair of glowing hot shoes was presented to the queen. Her punishment was to step into those shoes and dance in them until she dropped dead. Now you know the dance. I don't know if y'all research. It was a dancing disease. The dancing disease.
According to Wikipedia, the dancing plague of 1518, or dance epidemic of 1518, was a case of dancing mania that occurred in Strasbourg, Alsace, in the Holy Roman Empire from July 1518 to September 1518.
Yeah. So that's where they get that part from. There was actually a plague that somebody concocted. Okay. You know, they make it up and they want to make sure that, they see it become, if how they going to tell if that it ain't real. So they got to give it to people to see how people going to act from it. See if it really works, that evilness. That's what they do. That's what y'all do. You don't care about hearts. You don't care about nothing. You don't care about your own heart. I don't even think y'all have a heart. Y'all probably took it out like on the once upon a time. Watching everybody, watching y'all in your house, watching you make love, watching you go to the bathroom, shower. Nasty little freaky little things. It's nasty. Y'all nasty. Oh my goodness. Violation. It's all right. Y'all time coming. Y'all time is coming, baby. Watching kids, watching children. Just keep coming out. Important letter, Scorpio says change. Change is coming. Okay. Somebody coming through on a horse. Somebody coming back because it's been repeated over and over and over again, and they type it a bloodline thing. One's is fire, right? So somebody coming, or some people coming. Stop y'all, and y'all know it. Try to stop the sun. Y'all know it. Y'all know somebody coming. It's gonna be victory for us. For us. We gonna wake up. One of the two. Cold abusive. Will do turn. So y'all taught us, right? And justice will prevail. We're gonna have the strength. Y'all nasty self. Watching people. Just nasty. Make no sense. Then y'all give it to people and stupid humans come back, go against another human. And they gonna turn against you. Y'all, whoever y'all is listening right here, you spying and you take it and you flip it and you turn it and you use it against a person and try to put them down. They gonna do y'all the same way. You ain't winning. Now some of y'all get threatened or whatever, or kill your families on all that. I understand if you're going through that. But those who not and coming against people for nothing, just because you jealous, you got yours coming too. You got yours coming too. Books shall be open. Your story shall be told. Be exposed. You ain't gonna be able to get away. Yeah, I know this is a business, but every business fail. Ideas that you got now, it's gonna fail. Don't want to change. Y'all rats. We lab rats to y'all. Monkeys. That's what they call us. Monkeys. They call human monkeys. Or we lab rats. Y'all experimenting on us. It's crazy. We just as lawyers. I like to. Oh Lord, we just as lawyer looking in our house, people in our house. Look at this. He look like he ghosts or whatever coming in here. Y'all looking at us through internet and all that stuff, and man, look at all this snow. Y'all plan on another ice age? That's what y'all plan on doing. Let me see if I got everything I'm supposed to be using. I got QANON. China color is white. Purity. I think I read that. Death, green, wealth, harmony. Purity and death. Green is wealth, harmony. I have my hand right now, I tell you. Friendliness. Eco-friendliness. The West mean clean. QANO. Lie about everything from vaccination, Black Lives Matter, fight against COVID-19, vehicle for disinformation. Is a group of people who have built a relief system by extra polluting meaning from cryptic messages that were posted by an anonymous person on various internet forums, high-ranking government officials. Snow White Machine, yeah. Yeah, we all know this, y'all. The jig is up. Oh yeah, with the Jesus story, Jesus having hair white as snow, and the Apocrypha, snow a bad thing. Wisdom 16:22. I want to see what that was. Wisdom. I ain't never heard of Apocrypha. Oh, Jayla, let me use your phone in a minute. My girlfriend just told me to call her. I'm almost through with this. Wisdom 16:22. First Native American honeybee bug sport. Where you get that at then? I don't see it nowhere. Interesting. Can't find it, y'all. Let's see if DuckDuckGo. DuckDuckGo. Let's see if they got it. Oh, Wisdom of Solomon. And at another time it burnt even in the midst of water above the power of fire, that it might destroy the fruits of any unjust land. 20 instead whereof thou feedest thy own people with angels' food, and didst send them from heaven bread prepared without their labor, about to content every man's delight and agreeing to every taste. Oh, I read all the 22, didn't I? Wisdom is a fountain of life to the wise, but trying to educate stupid people is a waste of time. God's word. Translation, understanding is a fountain of life to the one who has it, but stubborn fools punish themselves with their stupidity. Yeah, you read about that. But snow and ice entered the fire and melted not, that they might know that fire burning on the hill and sparkling in the rain did destroy the fruits of enemies. But this again did even forget his own strength, that the righteous might be nourished. Let me see what the Apocrypha says. AP. C. I said the Apocrypha, and I said the Bible. For in the days of Herod, Ared, my father, they departed from the teaching of the Lord, from the covenant of heaven, and behold, they committed sin and reject the proper way, and begot children, not like spiritual, but like carnal offspring. Mark 9:3, white people in the Bible. And his raiment became shining, exceeding white as snow, so as no fuller on earth when white them. Revelation 19:14. View whole chapter. And the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean. Leviticus 13:24. View whole chapter. The Snow Queen's worm. I refuse to believe that my boy didn't get jacked over the years and can now be basically freeze back, even snow, to survive the sun and more. All for the sleeping snow inbrained, woken only by its maker's return. Apocrypha bad Elsa. New apocrypha. Frozen worm. Queen's worm. A thing to notice though is Frozen 2. Reading a copy of Little Mermaid, no doubt. Okay. The book is written in 1831. Assume that Waki is right that he was 14. Da, da, da. They ain't got nothing to do with that. Well, anyway, y'all, just curious about this. It says fear and anger stead. At the same time, the old language preserves a theological courage for which meant to be like the stomach. It refused to force close divine blame from such things as earthquakes, ice, and snow. There is deep theological wisdom in the book of Job. The first point of the book is that if you are affected with bad things, you should want to talk to God. Do not watch Fate Extra last encore unless you have played Fate Extra. Do not listen to anyone saying otherwise. It is a continual of a bad ending from Fate Extra, meaning you won't understand anything unless playing the game. Okay. Well, y'all, thanks for hanging out with me, whoever came in or whatever it may be, or y'all that knew what I was going to do to stop people from listening. So do y'all. How you been doing? Okay. I did want to read those plagues of the Bible, right? I had that. When I had it, let me see. Matter of fact, I said her name today and she called. Ain't that something? I wasn't calling her though. Okay. Okay. But always glad to hear from them though. Oh, I want to talk about I'll come another day and talk about. All right, y'all. Thanks for listening. Love y'all. Hope y'all made some sense out of it all. However, y'all black me is cool. Like I say, every dog got their day. The wheel turn all the time. So y'all taught us. Okay. And I see for myself being here. I love all of y'all. Take care. Stay safe. Get a kind heart. Forgive and love and help each other. All right. Love y'all. Bye.